Good morning, my Florida Garden Escape channel, and welcome back. I am happy to have you guys here. If you're new here, welcome. Today, we're not going to be doing really anything drastic. We're just really doing a garden tour update today. Kind of going over everything, looking at everything, seeing how everything's looking, especially since we did a lot of remakes and a lot of remodels to a lot of our garden beds. So that's what we're going to go through today. And I've actually managed to do some transplanting as well. So I'm also going to go through with you guys, look at our seedlings, see what we're looking at. I did get a lot of our lettuces in that transplanted. I still have a lot more I need to get transplanted. So today, that's what we're going to be going over, is looking at everything, seeing what we need to do now, see where we're kind of at with everything. And then later we'll be doing a winter preparation, since we're getting closer and closer to winter. So we'll be having that launched later today as well. So do stay tuned for that. Guys, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe down below. And don't forget to hit that bell so that way you don't miss out on any of our new videos. It seems like every weekend we're always launching a new video, so always look for new videos around the weekend. Sometimes I'll put new videos out throughout the week, but just kind of stay tuned on our channel. If you hit that bell, you won't miss out on any of the videos, and you don't have to keep checking in every few days. But let's go ahead and get into this garden tour, guys. Let's go. So currently right now I am at our greenhouse, and as you guys can see, we only have one door open, and the windows are still open because it still does get pretty warm out here in our zone 8B. This is some of the seedlings that we've already started. We have our dazzling blue kale, our red acre cabbage, we got our Brussels sprouts, and our Utah celery over here as well. We even have some asparagus growing as well from what it looks like. So I'm super stoked that I got some germinated this season, because last season it didn't go so well for me. Then I did get some Sweet Williams transplanted into some bigger pots for our events that we attend. So that way, if anybody is looking for the Sweet Williams that grows sweet peas, these are definitely going to be the ones you want. We do have our snapdragons that we will go through to move into the greenhouse because they do not like the cold. We still have our basil growing. As you can see, they're a little droopy, but that's just due to they are needing some water, so we're going to have to water this evening. But this basil is doing good. We're going to actually have to do some harvesting from aloe and basil later this evening. So we'll probably do a video doing our harvest. This is going to be our celery right here. I'll get to harvest some celery from it later. It's looking good. It's looking luxurious. The mint, on the other hand, ain't looking too hot. Looks like something done got a hold of it and done gnawed everything off of it. So we're definitely going to have to do some treating in this part of the garden. Now moving into the greenhouse, I did transplant some plants in here. As you guys can see, we have a tomato plant in here. I am actually probably going to add a stake in here to stake this tomato plant down to help it trellis up. Some of our pepper plants we do have in here. They are already trying to produce peppers, which is fine, because these pepper plants don't get super big, as they're going to stay in the greenhouse over the winter. This is going to be one of our ghost peppers. This one did actually get very tall. She is already to the ceiling of the greenhouse, and she did spread out limb wise. As you guys can see, she's still producing. She's still popping out peppers. We do have additional aloe that we have to separate here. So a little key note with aloe is aloe loves to be root bounded. When it's root bounded, it produces thousands more of little babies. So if your aloe ever dies, you can always replant the root into a smaller pot, leave the soil dry for about a week, and then water it, and it will reproduce. But then over time, she'll start to shoot out little babies like this one does. So we're going to do a video later separating this aloe plant, these aloe plants, and these aloe plants, as they definitely need to be separated. We do have another pepper plant in this pot here. It is doing very beautifully. I am seeing some white flies, so we are going to have to come through here and treat for those white flies. This is another aloe down here. We'll have to transplant and separate. More basil is doing good. We got a harvest from it. From what I'm seeing over here as far as our seedlings of herbs go, we have a lot we need to transplant. We got some sage, some spinach. We also have some thyme. Looks like we got some lavender true thyme, which is the flowers. Looks like we do have some oregano growing, and we got some more basil growing as well. So, with that being said, I'm super stoked to get all those herbs transferred over to their own individual pot. Now, as we move out, we're going to come to our little nursery area. Our nursery area, we've already added a little bit more, a few plants too. As you guys can see, I recently did transplant some lettuce. That lettuce got transplanted and it is looking so good. So, and then I also did get some of the dazzling blue kale transplanted as well. So that's what's there. Over here is some more of our aloe. These are individually in their own pots already, so they're looking good. These are some of the older peppers that we have that need to be in bigger pots, and then we can take to our events. We still have strawberries growing. They're just puny little strawberries. I'm gonna have to add some fertilizer to them, help them produce. And then here is some more of the lettuces that we did transplant. They are looking good. They're growing happily. Then we got some mammoth basil there. That is actually a very strong basil. It's different from your Italian basil. I do have my dill growing here, so that'll have to be transplanted in a bigger pot eventually. As you guys can see, we haven't really added too much into the garden. We still have our red okra growing over there, and then we have our rosemary and some peppers growing over here. Now our peppers are still producing. Something is eating on them, so we are going to have to come through to apply our pest stuff, so that way we can get rid of the worms that's eating on the plants. Peppers are still producing. Pepper plants, just like tomato plants, they won't die off until we hit under 35-degree weather, and then that's when they'll die off. As you guys can see, we definitely have some peppers we need to harvest. So I'll be out here later to get these peppers, because these are just a California blend peppers. They're not meant to get super massive. They can be different colors. So I could leave them on here for them to change their colors and things like that. But I'll probably end up harvesting them, as we plan on having something with burgers tonight, and I want some peppers for our burgers. So, as you guys can see, the red okra is over there. We still have the Canaan lily. We have our hummingbird vine growing up this. And then there's another one of our Canaan lilies. I did come over this way though, and I transplanted some sweet williams over here. As you guys can see, here is one of the sweet williams, and then here is another one of our sweet williams that I transplanted. These sweet williams will grow. They are vines, so they love to climb. I put another one over here as well. I actually put two over here for them to be able to climb up this trellis. So I'm hoping that's what they'll do. And let me fix this one. I want to start getting him wrapped up on there. So with vines and that, you want to start getting them to where they're hooking on to that trellis system, so that way they can go ahead and start climbing on it. I do come through here to get rid of all the other weeds that are around the area, so that way we can get those removed and they're not taking up the energy and the source from the sweet williams. We don't have anything on this side. That's just plain. We do definitely have a lot of transplanting to do. As you guys can hear the chickens, we just got through feeding them. They are wanting new hay. For some odd reason, one of our chickens is demanding of new hay. She wants new hay every day, and it's like, girl, you do not need new hay every day. So we did, during the remake and remodel, we found out that we had gladiuses popping up. Gladiuses, they will come back every year. They're not a plant where it just comes back once and you have to replant it every year. They actually come back on their own. And for the seasons that they grow, during the times that they grow in which it's either spring and fall. Those are the only 2 seasons they grow. They will not grow during the summer because it's too hot for the plant. They like the cooler temperatures. They don't like really hot temperatures. So it's really exciting to see that we have some gladiuses growing. Our blueberries already went dormant. They're not going to produce anymore just due to we are getting colder. So that's pretty much just the greenhouse, the big garden, and then our little nursery area. We're going to go ahead and head up to the front, and we're going to do a whole tour on the front yard. So let's go. And I can't forget my eggs that I collected this morning while I'm coming back up to the front of the house. So every morning we collect eggs. Some of my hens, they don't want me to get all the eggs, so I'll leave like 1 or 2 in there until later, and I can get it, because they get really loud at me if I take all of them. If I don't leave at least 1 or 2 in there, they get really loud with their squawk. So I like to leave 1 or 2 eggs in there, so that way they can lay on something. Of course, we did have fake eggs in there at one time, but one of the fake eggs is lost. I don't know where it's at. I don't know what they did with it. I don't know if they buried it somewhere. They're very smart chickens. They're not dumb. Alright, so here we are up at the front. I'm going to show you guys something really freaking pretty. I'm flipping you around. Look at this beauty. She is blooming. Since we did the removal of all the weeds and that, she's been blooming left and right. And just look how pretty she is. These roses, they smell phenomenal when they're blooming. And when all the roses bloom, you can smell nothing but roses in our front yard. They're just absolutely beautiful. But let's finish. So this is our knockout roses. They're still in processing of growing. As you guys can see, the weeds are still cleared out. We're going to come out here. I'm going to come out here later and collect a lot of the rose petals once there's more. And we're going to make some additional rose water that you can use for your face, hair, and skin. And as you guys can see, our white rose did just go through with blooming, so she's not having any new blooms at this time. We're gonna have to feed her to get her to produce more. This one is still growing. She's doing pretty well. She's already had 1 recent bloom, but she's gonna do a lot better after we do a feeding later today. Now, as you guys remember the Canaan lily, this is our original OG Canaan lily. She was the first Canaan lily to be with us throughout our gardening. And she is still here with us today. So as you guys can see, she's definitely big. She's definitely out there. She is definitely dying off, as you guys can see the brown leaves, as it is getting colder. No, I do not have a blanket big enough or a winter sheet big enough to cover her. So she will die back, and then she'll come back next season and get to be about this big, if not bigger. Next up, we have our next rose. She's already done a bloom recently. Since we're removing her weeds around her, she's definitely shown some growth and definitely shows to be shooting out new sprouts. This one over here is definitely doing good. She's showing a lot of new growth. New blooms are coming out on her. So I'm super stoked about that one. We did get this Canaan lily moved. It looks like something's been digging in it, but she's been adjusting. These guys as well, they're doing good. Don't seem to really show much of an issue. It's just all about growing now. And they may just be starting to get ready to go into dormant, especially since it's starting to get colder. So they may not produce too much. These little pockets right here have seeds in them, and I'll just burst that seed out and I'll just let it fall to the ground so it can reproduce the Canaan lilies there. Now, we won't go too much into the fruit trees just due to our fruit trees really ain't doing anything. I'm just going to show you guys really quickly because they're really going dormant. They're getting ready to go into sleeping order because it's getting cold. Some of our fruit trees did great. Some of them, one of them broke. We don't even know how it broke, so we have to wait a whole another few years before we'll even get anything in out of it. Instead of waiting until next year and hopefully getting something out of it, now we have to wait even longer because it got broke. But here we go. So this here is going to be our citrus fruit tangerine tree. It is definitely tall. It's got the main branch going out. You always want a main branch going out and then limbs spreading out to the bottom of it. So we'll have to do some trimming up this season. This one is going to be our lemon tree. It's another citrus tree. She's doing good. She's sprouting out. She's not really getting tall center-wise, which is good. You don't want your citrus trees to get tall in the center, so that way all the other branches can get their sunlight. Over here is going to be the tree that got broke off. This will more than likely contain diseases just due to the break that it had right here. And it may not grow correctly. So it may end up dying off. So as you guys can see, it did sprout new stuff out, but it's not going to really matter because this is definitely open to diseases due to this clean break right here. And there's nothing I can do to fix that, as it's the center of it, and it's going to cause some problems, as this is going to be an apple tree. Moving over is another one of our apples. The other one of our apples did not do so well. It actually died off and came completely out of the ground. So this is one of the other ones. It's not looking too hot. I don't know what it is about this area right here, but it definitely doesn't do so well when we plant here. We had a plum tree here as well, but it didn't do well. Along with this tree, this is one of the plums as well, and it's doing okay. It's not really producing anything here, but it's doing pretty well. I really can't complain with it too much. It was a little wonky, which is why it's got a stake down to it. Moving over, we do have our I can't even say this one. This is another one of our citrus trees we've had for a while. If you guys remember, I never could get the name right. It's gotten taller. You can definitely see where it's got its thorns on it. We're not even going to mess with it. It's doing great. I'm really happy with it, how big it's getting. It's taken some time for it to get that big. Over here in this area, you guys can definitely tell where we still need to do some weeding, because we got a rose bush in there, we got the avocado, we got some elephant ears, and then we got the hibiscus. The hibiscus will have to be transplanted next season along with the avocado. Avocado will definitely be transplanted next season along with the pomegranate. Over this way is our banana trees. They haven't really gotten any bigger. They've just been slump. They've just been slump. So that's how big they are currently. But then we have our king peach tree. We may end up removing the peach tree because it appears she's spitting out new growth and new tree limbs. And this one apparently is dead. This piece of the tree is dead because it hasn't shot anything out. And as you guys can see in there, it's not a hollow. It's actually yeah. So you see this in here, guys? That is a fungus that can get inside the tree. So that's what's growing in there. That's why this was so hollow and it broke the way it did, because it's dead. That's just what it is. It's dead. And you can't, if you know when it's dead, you can't fully pull it up out of the ground. So it's not totally dead. It's just a lot of the pieces of it are dead. This is our Prince peach tree. It already did produce something for us. And it's going dormant. It's going out. So with the fruit trees, during the cold seasons, they do go dormant to go to sleep. They don't produce. They don't do nothing. They don't even have leaves on them. So they just go into this winter sleep type deal. And then once it starts warming back up, then they come back alive and they start producing out leaves. So you always definitely see when it's starting to get cold and plants are starting to go to sleep because they're losing their leaves. But that is going to be it, guys. I need to get these eggs inside. We've pretty much walked through the whole garden and toured it all. Later today, we're going to give the chickens new hay like they request. Get that hay resituated. And then we're also going to transplant the seedlings. So that way they can get in their new area and start getting bigger. And we can start harvesting from them soon. But that is going to be it for now, guys. I want to thank you for joining. Thank you for staying tuned. And I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.